Discretion is advised.
If you feeling like a pimp, if the niggas call pimp.
Awesome sauce. I am your host, Planet of Wonders, the Comic Pimp. You are tuning into Awesome Sauce Radio here on Comic Crusaders, www.comiccrusaders.com. You can always catch the replay on Demon Seed Radio at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Sunday nights, www.demonseedradio.com. I'd like to thank my good friend Julie Rocket for tuning in tonight. Thank you for being my friend, Julie, and for cheering me up the overnight. I also now like to bring on our very special guest, voiceover legend from Gargoyles, as well as the original voice of Carnage, Scott Clevington. How are you, Scott?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me. This is something of an honor, I have to say. Thanks for having me here. It's great.
Thank you. I was rewatching the Carnage episodes just the other day, and I also watched the Venom trailer a couple times, and I thought you would be an amazing guest to have on the show.
Well, thank you very much. I have to tell you, because of Disney Plus, it's been the first time I've actually had the opportunity to see all that work I did in the 1990s. Because I never had a chance to see it before. I saw bits and pieces on YouTube, but I never was actually able to sit down and watch full episodes that I recorded back in the 20th century. So it was pretty cool. And now with the Carnage movie coming out, etc. You know, so it's kind of cool.
What are your thoughts on the Venom Let There Be Carnage movie? What do you think of Woody Harrelson playing the role?
Well, I think Woody Harrelson is an absolutely wonderful actor and has a great capacity to walk in shadow, as it were. He's great as a good guy, and he's even better as a bad guy. And he has a sort of danger around him. So I think it's a fantastic choice that you get a nice heavy hitter like Woody Harrelson there. And he does crazy well. And if Cletus Cassidy is something, it's batshit crazy.
That he is. How did you get the role of Carnage?
My story in voiceover is rather peculiar, but then again, I think most people's story in voiceover is kind of peculiar. I was living in Los Angeles, and I was with ICM theatrically, which means they're supposed to get you jobs in TV shows and movies. And then my agent, who never lifted a finger for me, I was quite chummy with his secretary called Mignon, who was very nice. And she called me out one day and she went, "Hi, Scott. How are you doing? Do you know how to do an Irish accent? You're Scottish. It's close, right?" And I was like, yeah, it's not miles away. I can do a decent Dublin accent. I think certainly here in the context of in Los Angeles, I don't think it's going to be too bad. And she said, "Okay, I'm going to give you a phone number. I want you to call this guy, and he's going to want to hear you down the phone. I'm going to fax you some sides, and you're going to read them to him." So I spoke to this guy, Jamie, who directed, at that time it was Gargoyles. And he was like, "Hey, Scott, how are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, good. Can you read this?" So I read it, and my first voiceover job was to play Cuchulainn in the Hound of Ulster in Gargoyles. And that was quite strange because the person who plays my girlfriend in that episode was Sheena Easton.
Oh, wow.
Who's also Scottish. So I think that people think that Scottish and Irish sound alike. They don't sound anything alike at all. But if you can do one, you can pretty much have a bash at the other. So, but the other curiosity is that Sheena Easton went to the same drama school that I went to in Glasgow, the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. So we immediately had a point of contact, and she was very nice. And we were talking about when she was with Prince and all the rest of it. And then we did that. And there you had Keith David was there, and all the other people from Gargoyles, Marina Sirtis. Basically, it seemed like half the cast of Star Trek was there most of the time. Ed Asner.
That's right, I forgot. Wasn't Jonathan Frakes a part of that as well?
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes was there. It was and it was great work. I mean, the people loved to do it. They would turn up, and it was always a nice time. The pay was pretty good for a few hours' work. I'm still getting residuals from stuff I did 25 years ago, and yeah, we went there. We did Gargoyles, so it was a short step from that to going off and doing Carnage. I think it was pretty much the same sort of thing where I had to. It was pretty much an audition down the phone, if I remember correctly. Because remember at that time, I think Maximum Carnage had come out, and there wasn't really that many references to it, and the person who was directing it, whose name escapes me right now, all I remember is actually the day of recording Carnage. It was very different because normally you sat around and you did the voiceover. The director in this case, he wanted everybody to stand up, which was rather unusual.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's no problem. I mean, for goodness sake, it's not like we're working in a mine. It's not exactly manual labor. But I remember that the director was very particular, and I did all my screaming and shouting and cackling so many times, and it wasn't until afterwards one of the other actors said to me, "Hey man, don't try to get it right on the first take. He'll always push you like 3-4 takes. Sort of go half-heartedly and then give it to him on the third take, which is what you would have done on the first take anyway." I was like, okay, I'll remember that for the future. But one of the other things I have to say about those Spider-Man cartoons, because everybody was up, I think Gargoyles was a much more kind of relaxed, sort of, if you could say, contemplative sort of show. That because it was up, it was all incredibly intense, and I think that's one of the things that comes across in the show when it's all that got to, not enough, and you can't really do that sort of stuff sitting down. But it was nice. Stan Lee's wife was there, and Tony J.
That's right. Joan was Madam Web in that series. That's right.
Absolutely, and she was an absolutely lovely, lovely person. And John Semper, who, if you haven't had him on the show, you should definitely get him on the show. John Semper, who basically created Cyborg, has been writing in the field of comics for, I think, more than 30 years. And he was one of the basically the showrunner and the scriptwriter on those Spider-Man and the Spider-Friends cartoons back in the day. And he's a great guy. Wonderful man.
I'll keep that in mind. How did you create the Carnage laugh, that very high-pitched cackle?
Well, the funny thing is, when I did it, I guess it must have been 26 or 27. It seemed to be that it just had to go all the way up and all the way down. It just had to be something that was going, because I know the guy who's doing Venom was all down there like that, so I knew I had to I had to cover all of that. It's funny, I was approached a while back when they were considering to recast the Joker in Batman Arkham Knight, I believe it was, because the word was out that Mark Hamill was getting rather tired of doing it. And I know how that is, because that sort of voiceover stuff, well, everything's like that, and then we all over like that, it's incredibly tiring. You can only do a certain amount of it amount of hours of it per day, and then you lose your voice. So I knew this was it was a few episodes, so I basically went for it. I was young, my voice recovered, but man, it's very, very tough on. Look, it's not tough work, but it's tough on your vocal cords. And some people can do it, and they can do all that sort of stuff. I can't do that for any length of time. In fact, I do a voice in a video game called Star Lords, I believe it's called, or I think it's Star Lords. And the character, the last time I had to work on it, I basically did over 2 hours of screaming, and I had another voiceover to do the next day, and you have to be very careful, particularly when you get older, because your voice gets damaged easier. But so that's where the screaming came from. It had this idea that it would be completely manic, from this guttural thing to this very high-pitched thing. And also, that's what the director was pushing for, was this kind of absolutely crazy, insane cackle.
Yeah, which is very memorable.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the first time I actually heard it with the effects was only about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago when it finally made it to YouTube. Because people don't remember. The young people out there don't remember that they don't know that back in the day, to watch a television program, you actually had to turn up, put on the television to the correct channel, and watch the television program when it was on the television.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or you had to set something called a VCR.
Can you remember?
And hope that you set the thing right.
Yeah, could you had to tape it, and then of course you had you know, the idea that you had to have a TV guide. Remember TV guides?
Yeah.
You know, that's good, very particular. But I'm interested in you, Adam, because you're seeing impaired. So what's your relationship when you hear these cartoons? Because you're listening to
basically, when I first watched them, I still had vision because my eye condition is degenerative. So I go on basically right when I watched them now, because unfortunately the Spider-Man cartoons. A lot of animation's not audio descriptive yet. I just basically I go by dialogue, and I try to follow along the best I can.
So
like those modern cartoons, like if I was to watch Bad Batch, or when What If comes out tomorrow, there will be an audio descriptive, and they'll have the extra audio track.
How is the audio description? Does it work well?
It works well, depending on what show it's on. Like if I'm watching Bad Batch, it works beautifully. If I'm watching something on Netflix, like Daredevil or Lucifer or something like that, sometimes it's so descriptive, I want to turn it off.
Right.
It's like, okay, I don't need every detail done.
Yeah, it must be a real art in creating, because it's halfway between the script and the listening to the dialogue. It's not a complete description. It's enough to give you a sort of taste of what's going on and the relationship between the people.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it really depends. There's times when I don't need the audio descriptive. The dialogue and what's going on in the story is just enough. And then there's so much going on that I really appreciate the audio description.
It's I have to say that Jose Mellinas, who's a friend of mine and part of our community here in Spain, is watching with us right now. Hello, Jose, ¿cómo estás? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Estás loco. That's what I can say. No, the audio descriptions are fascinating to me because, in many ways, such as there's I know that people are creating audio only video games. Which is fascinating, and I think it's magnificent that it's opening up these experiences to people who may have lost the opportunity to actually enjoy these things and sort of see them in air quotes on a completely new level. So if I wanted to listen into an audio description, what would be your recommendation for me to see how it works?
I would recommend.
Hear how it works.
I would really recommend the Bad Batch on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It really makes you feel like you're watching a Star Wars movie, or a Star Wars animated series, but you're watching the script process come to life.
Wow.
So I really think the audio description is going from the actual script.
Okay. When
it comes to all the description, when it's describing how ships are firing at a planet, or if someone from the crew is being beamed to a certain part of the ship or firing something.
Oh, okay.
Or when they're describing colors or something.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it's for me. It's just almost inconceivable how complicated it would be to actually evoke that and make that work. But how about with the older cartoons like the Spider-Mans and the Batman Beyond and
Batman Beyond? which I rewatched your episodes of those last night because I was going for your IMDb project. Wow, he was in that too? Wow. Never even realized.
Well, the funny thing with the Spider-Man is because on Disney Plus I started to go through it and I actually started to see things that I forgot that I'd actually done. And the same thing with Gargoyles. For example, I think there's episodes in Gargoyles with the Hunters, and I'm one of the Hunters, and the Hunters are supposed to be Scottish, but I'm the only real Scotsman there. There's no other proper Scottish people, so everybody was like, "So Scott, how'd you say that?" It's like, no, you don't say it like that. You say it like, you say it like this. So it was one of the, they were very fast and loose when it came to foreign accents, I have to say. But Batman Beyond was curious because I recorded that with Amanda Donohoe and George Lazenby, who played James Bond in On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we played the King, the Queen, and the Jack, and I'm Jack. And it was one of those classic sort of things where everybody's being terribly posh, like, well, I was like that. And of course you had George Lazenby, who's actually Australian, which people forgot, and Amanda Donohoe, who'd never done it before. And she was like, what is this strange world? But and of course Kevin Conroy, who is the man. I mean, it's quite a thing to see Kevin Conroy work because every single line that comes out of him is perfect. You know, it's 100% Batman. I mean, you can't.
I got to see Kevin Conroy do that live at a convention.
Oh. And
I was blown away.
No, he's so good, and he was a very nice man.
He was wonderful.
You know, but I think there's a great doing voiceover work, and particularly that sort of work, the Batmans and Gargoyles and the Spider-Mans back in the day. There's a great sort of camaraderie, and there was a great sense of fun in terms of what we were doing, and nobody really took themselves that seriously, because what would be the point? And everybody was just trying to do a really extraordinary job. Keith David, he was the only one who wore headphones. The curious thing is, you get your script and you sit around in a sort of half circle, and you have a microphone in front of you, and you have a music stand with your script on top of it, and you do the episode one line after another, and the director will go, okay, in this moment, okay, what you're doing is you're pulling up the refrigerator from the ground, so give me a grunt, and you go, yeah, and you go, okay, it weighs a little bit more than you thought it would weigh, and you go, yeah, okay, so now you got it, and you're trying to balance it, and then you're going to throw it at Spidey, and you go, yeah, and you go, okay, you have to, and then you're happy about it, yeah. So that's how it would be kind of constructed. And that would be with sort of everybody in every single take and every single line, and you would move through it. Because what you really didn't understand, because you never saw the script before, is you had no idea what was going on. So it all kind of had to be set up for you. And there was no image at all. So you would do the voices, and then they would go off and animate them. And sometime in the distant future, they would return with them and put them on a Saturday morning. And that's how that would go down. But it was very, very nice work. Can't complain. Look,
That's
and
amazing.
John Semper gave me this. I know you can't see it, Adam, but everybody out there should be able to see. Let me just get to where I am right now. Okay, is that working? Okay, so my Carnage action figure.
Nice.
Proud. There we go. I'm gonna put him there. There he is.
I actually have one of those hanging up on the wall behind the green screen.
Well, it was a very peculiar thing when to have an action figure of something that you'd actually done. It was very, very peculiar. What can I say?
That's awesome. I know you're now a film and acting coach. What advice would you give for someone wanting to get into acting and or voiceover?
Okay, something I hear very often. Well, if you want to get into acting, first ask yourself why you want to do it. there should be two answers. One is I love it, and two, I'm really good at it. Those are the important things. If you want to do it because you want to be on red carpets or famous or any of those things, but most people know this already, forget it. That's a very, very bad reason to want to go and become an actor. You're probably not going to make any money, and you're probably not going to work much, even if you are very, very good. Now, how do you establish if you're any good at what you're doing? Well, I recommend wherever you're living, go take an improv class, go take an acting class, try it out, see how you feel. Everybody's going to start out doing theater, doing improv. Start there. You might discover you're wonderful at it. You might discover you hate it. But if you do love it, join a theater company, keep working on your skills. If that's the point, if you haven't done it already, if you're interested in voiceovers, you should be, particularly animation voiceover and video game voiceover, you should have been doing since the age of 10 years old, like we all used to do, imitating people in cartoons and the TV. That's how you that's how you do it. The reason I can do all these accents is because I'm from Scotland, I'm from Edinburgh, and we always would imitate the accents that we heard on television. How does that work? Well, we imitate the voices of authority, which are the BBC newsreaders. So all the little Scottish boys and girls all learn how to speak like this, so we can make fun of the people in power. That's how that works. So that's where that comes from. And if you're interested in voiceovers, then you really have to practice. You should be reading out loud every single day. You should be working on accents, tuning your ear to accents. If you want to learn a Scottish accent, watch lots of TV that comes from Scotland, or watch films with Scottish actors doing Scottish accents in them and begin to imitate them. Record yourself, play it back. I mean, look, the people have been surprised because Cletus Cassidy, and I suppose Carnage, is, he's an American. One of the things for me is I always had to pretend I was from somewhere I wasn't. But that's not just when I was in Los Angeles. That's also when I was in London. I couldn't sound like where I was from, so I always had to sort of change my accent. So if you're interested in voiceovers, start playing around and see if you're any good at it. See if you can make text come alive. See if you can take some lines of dialogue and make them live. Because one of the things you've got in voiceovers is no rehearsal, no preparation time. You come in, they put the scripts in front of you, and all of a sudden you're on top of a mountain going, "I will destroy you all," and that'll be it. There's no real magic to it. So if you're interested in it, start it now. Start it already. And there's wonderful people on YouTube. There's extraordinary people who are out there. If you want to learn about accents, if you want to learn about accents in other languages. I spend most of my time speaking Spanish these days. So if I can do it, Dios mío, anybody can.
Yeah, man, podcasting just came naturally to me after having to take time off from doing stand-up.
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
What was the first episode like? Was it good? Was it a disaster?
That first episode I wouldn't recommend. That first episode I did 7 years ago sucked. It was me trying to figure out how to talk in front of a mic. No, I didn't even have a microphone for my first episode. I did it off my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I couldn't make a stand-up gig because of the beautiful New York City mid-February snowy storms. I was like, let me see if I can put something on YouTube and get one view. And it's now been 7 years. Because I just loved what I was doing. And I was like, let me do all the crazy stuff I was doing at the school for the blind at the time. As my vision got worse. It's like, I can make everyone here laugh. Let's see if I can get an audience somewhere else.
Let me just see. Okay, let me see what happened there.
I just started, on mic, started imitating Mickey Mouse. I was like, ha! Whoa,
something
whoa.
very, very peculiar has happened.
That was 7 years ago, and this is like one of the greatest blessings of my life today. And a lot of it has to do because I was a fan of cartoons like Spider-Man and Gargoyles. I want to, just say thank you for, always being a source of inspiration.
Right. 1, 2. Okay, that's I can hear. All right, there we go. I'm back. I appear to be back.
Okay. Did
I
we
have no
freeze?
idea what's happened.
Yeah, that's odd.
If anybody's speaking, I cannot hear them.
Hello, Scott? Can you hear me now? Scott?
Oh, now I can hear them. Oh, that's good.
Hey, Scott.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can everybody hear me?
yes, I can hear you. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay.
I'm hearing somebody groaning.
I'm hearing
But I'm
Al.
not hearing anything else.
Can you hear me now, Scott? Okay, we are having technical difficulties.
Scott, do you hear Adam at all?
No, I don't hear him in the slightest.
You hear me now, Scott?
Not even slightly.
Oh, wow. Yo, Adam, are you playing with me?
No, I'm not.
Yo, Mark Silvestri's here right now. All right, you like... oh, shit.
Yep, because we were
Adam-
about to, yeah, it's about to, thanks Scott for his time to bring in the next guest.
All right, Scott. So I'll do this for Adam since he's having technical difficulties. But you rock, all right? I've been showing you off over here at the Scott Cleverton. Is there any place else we could follow you?
Yeah, well, you can follow me. We're live every weekday at 8 p.m. in Europe, which is approximately 2 p.m. in on the east coast of the United States. You can follow us. There. Let me see. I can actually do something very, very clever here.
Yeah, let's get clever.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to get clever here. Let me get super clever here. Let me just do this, and I'm gonna make. Okay, now watch. Now we're gonna get super clever. I'm actually gonna do. Let me just see. Look at that. Now you should see that. That's subscribe, which is youtube.com/Escuela Asunta Serna, who's my wife, who I love profoundly.
Well, you gotta say that, otherwise you're gonna be
No, I
sleeping on
do.
the sofa.
Have you ever seen The Craft? The movie The Craft?
Yes.
Well, she plays Lyria. She's the witch who runs the store in The Craft.
Say word. Check you out, homie. Wepa. Very nice.
That's what I'm talking about. So,
Wait. Before you go, I just gotta ask, how did you meet her?
I met her on a battlefield in the Ukraine shooting a TV show, a series of TV films for British television with Sean Bean.
Okay.
And curiously enough, Sean Bean never died. So
Okay.
it's an anomaly. So anyway, she was a feisty Spanish guerrilla, and we met on horseback in a battlefield, the way you do.
It started so intense, and it's just we went on the battlefield on the TV show.
Yeah, the way you
That's
do.
awesome
But
sauce.
what we've been doing since April of last year, since just after the pandemic hit, is that we've been doing a live stream every single day for an hour or so. We
nice.
speak direct. We've been interviewing directors, writers, musicians,
Wonderful.
producers. We interviewed Philip Noyes, who made Salt and Clear and Present Danger, amongst other things,
nice.
and Rabbit-Proof Fence. Craig Armstrong, who did the music for Love Actually and The Great Gatsby and Moulin Rouge.
Wonderful.
And we do one day a week in English, which we do on Thursdays. And we talk to actors about acting and all the rest of it because for the last 20 years we've been teaching film acting. That's
Nice.
That's what we do.
Now I know when I need to get into film, I'm gonna go to Scott. Hey Scott, what do I need to do here? How can I make this weapon very powerful in Hollywood?
Well, one of the reasons that we do it is we want to be transparent and we want to be honest with everybody. And also, my wife has made over 200 movies. In 6 different languages.
Wow.
And I only speak 2 languages. She speaks 6.
Damn.
And one of the things is that most people who are teaching acting have never really done it. And we have. I mean, my wife has voted on the Oscars since 1993.
Oh wow. God bless. Check that out.
So we like to be honest with actors and tell them the straight story. So if you're interested, please feel free to come and you can see it. You should be able to see it down at the bottom there, which is youtube.com Escuela Asunta Serna. Okay, you can come and follow us in there. And also, it's easy to find us. We're the easiest people in the world to find. And we've been working with people because we've been, reviewing.
Don't make it too easy for the cycles, all right? Come on now.
We're in Madrid. There's no psychos in Madrid apart from the government.
I hope not. Hey, I'm part Spaniard apparently. So, huepa, ahí que estamos, coño. ¿Cómo es? Ay.
Joder, tío. Tú eres del norte de la isla. Esto es otra cosa.
Ahí estamos. Bueno. Well, thank you, Scott, bro. You rock. God bless, bro. Have a great day.
Yep.
Thank you,
Scott.
Sir. Take care.
Bye.
All the best to Adam.
Bye.
Yep. Thanks, Scott.
Oh my God, Adam! Let me bring in this legend. I can't believe you have him. I love the darkness. I was buying these when they were coming out back in the day. You go ahead and introduce the one that we have on right now, brother. Go ahead.
Well, today at Awesome Sauce Radio, I want to thank Scott Cleventon for his time. That was a dream come true. But we now have the legendary Mark Silvestri in the house. How are you, Mark?
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Hello, everyone out there. Hope everybody's staying safe.
I hope So, I hear that you're bringing the darkness back. How did this come about?
Yeah, that's the rumor that happens to be true. So, if people don't know, we are in the midst, we're getting near the end of the Darkness Kickstarter it's actually our volume 2, which is huge. It's like this thick hardcover book. There you go. Thank you for pulling that up. And it's still live. You've got a few days left, so go check it out if you haven't yet. And it's big. It collects like 24, 25 issues of the Darkness.
Mark, I just want to say congratulations, man. I mean, you were looking at 30,000 and you got 129. God, woo!
Dude, man. Yeah. Fans are the best. They were just comic fans. There's nothing like them out there.
Well, this is the great. Like I said prior, I was buying this off the shelf when it first came out. You were doing something unique then, and I'm glad that this whole new generation is discovering the awesomeness of what you were doing then, and for you to bring it back, thank you, man. I mean, it needs to get put. I need to see this in a film, so I'm glad you're bringing it back.
Close, we've been close a couple times, but Hollywood is Hollywood, so we're still going to try and get it out there, but we're not going to put anything out there that we're embarrassed about. So, when we do finally get that in other media, it's going to kick ass. So.
Adam, I want to go ahead and play the trailer for this, if you don't mind, so people can see.
Go for it, man. I didn't think I was going to be allowed, but please do.
Yeah, let's just do it. We're going to do the screen share real quick and let people, folks know what they're looking at here.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, yeah. This is amazing.
Hey, everybody. Mark Silvestri here, the founder and CEO of How Productions, and also one of the founding partners of Image Comics, and also co-creator of The Darkness, which is why I'm here. We're celebrating 25 years of Jackie Estacado and his adventures as The Darkness. And all that is because of you, because of your support, because of your love of Jackie and his world, and because of the fact that the last Kickstarter we did for Volume 1 was so successful, we're doing it again. We're collecting The Darkness again in Volume 2. And along with the add-ons and all the special rewards that you're going to love that are very, very cool, doing something extra special, and we're doing a 1/2 issue. That's right, an exclusive 1/2 issue of The Darkness, which will be written by me and drawn by the uber talented Chris Mitten, and the incredible Brian Valenza will be doing the colors, and I'll be doing a cover for it as well, which is a treat for me because I love Jackie Estacado, I love The Darkness. This is something very, very cool because this is a teaser for, we are bringing Jackie back in a regular series. And this exclusive 1/2 is kind of the intro to that. So this is something you want to jump onto because it's going to be very, very cool. And all these wonderful creators that we have involved in this volume, from Paul Jenkins, David Wool, Dale Keown, Joe Benitez, Dave Finch, and many others who are the artists on these incredible issues. They're all going to be in this volume. So again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for allowing us to do this again. And hey, how about another 25 years of Jackie Estacado? Thank you so much.
Hey,
That's
Absolutely.
awesome
Who was that
sauce.
big goof? Yeah, and look, all that is sincere. I wanted to thank everybody, and you being a fan of the darkness. I appreciate that, and it's funny to me when we're talking about, like you were just saying, people jump on the darkness who weren't there before. It can't help but boggle my mind to think that a lot of people who will be picking up Jackie and the darkness for the first time hadn't even been born yet when the darkness first came out. I was like, that freaks me out. I've been in this business so long. It's like, oh my God, I can actually say that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're bringing it back. And if people check out the Kickstarter, you get a leg up on everybody else. There's the cover that I did for the 1/2 issue. Don't worry, for everyone that loves Jackie Estacado in the darkness, we're not changing this guy. It's still Jackie. What we're doing is we're kind of creating a little bit of a trick here for everybody that hopefully works to make everyone happy, who are fans of the darkness, people that have been reading the book for years and people who never even picked one up before. So we are reintroducing Jackie. We're not reinventing him. We're reintroducing him in a way that we believe will be entertaining to new readers and also entertaining to people who know Jackie well. They won't be bored by it. So it's not going to be, I know this already, or hey, what the hell? They changed everything. That's not the case. So we're pulling a little rabbit out of our hat, or a little darkling out of our hat, and hopefully we pull it off. I think we will. I think people are going to be really pretty jazzed, whether you're an old time fan or someone just jumping on. It's going to be for everyone.
Mark, I just want to say that you inspired the Comic Crusaders colors through Jackie, because I know if you look at our logo, it's kind of the same gold and black shades on my logo, because I always love this book.
Oh, good.
I always love this book. Again, man, Jackie Estacado, it wasn't too often that you see POC characters even then doing things. You know what I mean? Yeah, Italian, Hitman, he was kick-ass, brother. And thank you for bringing this back right now, because it was beautiful art then, and it stands true today.
You know what? We couldn't do it, obviously, unless people like you and all the fans out there, unless you guys cared. So thank you. Look, as comic book people, we're on the same team, right? We support each other. You buy what we make, we can make more of what you want to buy, right? We're a family. Come on.
Yeah. What are some of the other tiers that are on the Kickstarter?
Some of the what? I'm sorry.
Some of the tiers. What are some of the extras and the bonuses you can get depending on the tiers?
We're showing that on the screen right now. We've got obviously the 1/2 is the big selling point here, because that's exclusive to Kickstarter. And Chris Mitten, if you're not familiar with his work, check it out online. It's Christopher Mitten. He does amazing stuff. And I wrote this story, and it reintroduces the darkness itself, right, and kind of where it comes from. And then the host that we all know and love, Jackie Estacado, who has no idea what's about to hit him. But it teases the opening of the new series. And you can kind of see as we're looking here, we've got prints, we've got actually a pretty cool pair of Jackie shades right there as I'm looking at it. We've got pins, we've got t-shirts, we have, actually I think we have a few remarks left available that I actually draw a picture of Jackie on the inside of the hardcover, right? And we sell out of those a lot. So if you want them, I think there's a few left. Go check it out. And you can see another cover there that's just been unlocked. So yeah, and there's a drawstring bag that's been unlocked. And let's see, a Stepan Sajic cover, which is always amazing. That's been unlocked. So
that dude is such a boss, bro. He is such a boss.
And you know what? I've never met anyone who puts out more stuff than this guy does. And it's all amazing. He does favorite versions of almost all the stuff that we do. So, and he's a friend of ours. And look, we said, hey, dude, we're doing this Darkness Kickstarter. You got any time? Before we even finish asking, he said, yeah, count me in. We're like, we love you. So it's been great. And I tell you, working on something like The Darkness, which is a character that so many creators love to work on, has been a real treat, because people want to work with this guy.
He's a
Marvel
dope
Products.
character, bro. Come on now. Your
Right.
imagination is sick. I mean, and I love how your lady too be all supporting you. She's your top cheerleader too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's been a wild ride all these years, and again, thank you to everyone who's been allowing us
It's
to
really
do
been
this.
25 years.
Wow.
Since
Doesn't feel
Darkness,
it.
yeah, we're about to celebrate 30 years of Image Comics, dude.
Oh my God, you're making me feel old. I was
Yeah,
there.
actually, that was going to be one of my questions. Is do you have any special plans for the 30th?
We
And I
do.
feel really old when I say 30th anniversary of Image
Yeah.
Comics.
Yeah, we actually do. I can't spoil anything because that would be no fun. But we
Yeah.
actually are planning something, and we'll be Top Cow. Obviously, all the Image partners. We're all celebrating 30 years within our own companies, right? So we're doing something special with Image, plus just something special for Top Cow, because obviously Top Cow is turning 30 as well. Jackie turned 25, and Witchblade had just turned 25 last year.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
I feel old.
I'm not going to ask you because, dude, you got nothing on me. I've been in professional comics for 40 years.
Holy smokes, bro.
Yeah, right.
So I was only 6 years old then when you started.
Oh yeah, you just busted yourself on your age. There you go.
It's all right, bro, but I'm busting you more on yours.
Oh yeah. Hey, I passed that Rubicon. I'm beyond bustable. It's like I'm already. I know I'm old.
The indestructible Mark Soros.
Dude, I've seen it all, man. It's been crazy, but I'll tell you something. One of the coolest things after 40 years in this business is just seeing how the rest of the world has finally caught up with us, right? Us comic book people, right? They finally realize, like, wait a minute, there's something really cool in there. Okay, I'll go check it out as a movie. Yeah, fine, however you get it, but as long as you're getting what we do, that's cool. So it took a few decades, but people finally caught on to how awesome comic books are.
Since there's another anniversary here, is there anywhere where the Witchblade TV show is streaming anywhere?
I don't know. It's wow, that's been like 20 years since we did that. And it's weird because people sometimes forget that show, and it was the highest rated cable show of all time when it came out.
Yeah, man. Yancey Butler was doing her things, huh?
Yeah, she was doing her thing. Unfortunately, this production got shut down. And we still have the dubious distinction of one of the highest rated shows ever canceled. So it's like,
wow,
these are great dubious distinctions, but it's a really cool show. And I think, it was ahead of its time in certain ways. And you got to remember that show was on TV. It wasn't a Marvel character. It wasn't a DC character.
Yeah.
It was a female lead based off of a comic book. And we managed to get that on television.
Right? Yeah, I see that.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I still look back at that fondly, but we're, those Witchblade and Darkness and other properties we have are kind of evergreen, and there's always interest. So we're working on not only the Darkness, but also something with Witchblade to bring her back to other media. So we'll let you guys know when something happens.
What I'd like to know is any of these projects going to be animated? Because I know that live action is going to be high budget, but you could probably get away with some awesomeness on. Or rather, like Blind Adam says, awesome sauce if it's animated.
Awesome sauce, right? Did you check out the Witchblade anime?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, right? That was pretty cool, right? I mean, it was like way over the top, but I mean, we knew that going in, and they were actually Gonzo was actually very cool to work with because what they did, they pulled off a pretty neat trick where they completely reimagined Witchblade. She takes place in the future. It's actually a different person, but you immediately know it's the Witchblade. Right. So, I mean, we loved it, and it was a hugely popular anime. Unfortunately, Gonzo went out of business before we could get the sequel to that. They were also going to do a Darkness, by the way.
Oh, my God. Stop teasing us.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't that's kind
of
teasing? Because that would have been badass.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think, again, Darkness is perfect. Darkness is so perfect at animation. It was one of my favorite comics from Top Cow at the time when it was coming out. That even my wife, who wasn't a comic book fan, was like, "Wow, that art looks really great.
Cool.
Like she wasn't even a fan, but like even that minute, like okay, that looks pretty cool, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great compliment. Yeah. Hopefully, you can get her to like the new one, the new version coming out.
Yeah, man, I want to dress up like Witchblade. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yes.
All right,
I've seen
let
some
the
good.
rocket show. Al
Yeah.
said that, not me. Thank you.
Wait, did you say you want to dress up as Witchblade?
No,
Maybe
no, no.
I
I gotta
misheard
get that. You know what? Maybe we gotta dress up Adam as Witchblade.
Hey,
Okay.
I'll take the love wherever we get it. It's all good. It's
Very cool.
all good.
So, do you have any? What are some of your favorite Michael Turner stories and memories?
It's.
Oh, wow.
I always tell this one story because it's.
Now,
it
God
kinda
rest his
says-
soul.
Absolutely, literally one of the greatest talents this industry's ever seen. It's a true story, but it kind of really it says who Mike was as a person. Back when the darkness was just getting started, or back when I was just thinking about the darkness, and real quick aside, people don't realize that the darkness idea came out before Witchblade did. We just had no place to put it because we hadn't done like Supernatural yet. It hadn't been proven that it works until we did Witchblade. And then once Witchblade hit like a bomb, we went, hey, here's this other idea that's been kind of sitting there on the shelf, and it's supernatural. And it's the darkness. Let's bring that and launch it through Witchblade. And it worked like a charm. But I was looking for some help on some background work, right? And this is when he had a studio with a lot of people. It was in Santa Monica, California, and it was great. It was a great place. I mean, Billy Tan was there, Joe Benitez was there, Dave Finch was there, who else was there? We had like 25 artists in this space, and then we had all these production people doing the computer coloring and editorial and all that. It was a 24/7 place. It never closed. And I was looking for a background guy to kind of help me because I was overwhelmed with stuff to do running a business. And so it was kind of an ongoing thing, hey, David Wohl, who was the editor-in-chief at the time, and if you're at a convention and you see somebody that's promising, that wants to break into the business, grab their portfolio, let's check it out. So one day, David Wohl tells me, hey, I found somebody that in San Diego that showed me his portfolio and maybe he could help you with some backgrounds. And I go, oh, okay. Let's see the portfolio. And I can say this now because everybody knows Mike Turner and everyone knows the talent of Mike Turner. But I opened up this portfolio and I looked at David Wohl and I said, dude, this is the worst portfolio I've ever seen in my life. This blows. I was like, you're wasting my time here. I'm busy. I was like, come on, this is the best you could do. He goes, yeah, I know, but he's downstairs. So okay, I went downstairs, and there's all these artists in there. We had tables, and Brandon Peterson was over here, and Matt Banning was over there, and stuff, and my table was over here. And there's this guy standing in the middle of the studio space, and it's Mike, right? And everyone knows Mike's just like this good-looking guy. He's just standing there. He's very affable and friendly. And so, we shook hands and he goes, hey, I'm Mike. And he's like, it's good to meet you. Hey, Mike, I'm Mark. It's good to meet you, man. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to hurt. This is a nice guy, right? But, sometimes you got to make those cuts clean and say goodbye and, enjoy your life. And Mike's like, it was just like kind of an oddity in comics back then. He was this very outgoing guy. He was this outdoor sports guy with his brother, and comics was just kind of a thing he thought would be fun to get into, right? And so I figured, I'll get this done quick. So back then, this is obviously 25 years ago, there was no Googling. You had no internet, so you had actually books. For you kids who don't know what those are, they are things made of paper and they're in shelves, right? So you had this big shelf of reference books, right? Like New York reference, whatever you need. People just go grab a book, like our own little library. It was all picture books, which were really kind of cool. And so I grabbed the book, right? And because Mike was supposed to be there for backgrounds. Actually, I didn't. I'm sorry. Mike was supposed to be there for backgrounds. So I thought, I'm digressing for a second. It's like, I'll get this over with real quick. So there was an empty table next to Brandon Peterson. And I told Mike, you know what? You're here to help me with background. So do me a favor. That's your table right now. go draw me a building. Just draw me a building, just so I can kind of get an idea. And in my head, I'm going, okay, this will be easy. I'll be done, and send him on his way. So he goes away. He comes back in about 45 minutes. I said, hey, I finished the building. I looked at this thing, right, and it's like this is the best way I can describe what I'm looking at on this piece of paper is a vertical loaf of bread with holes in it, right? That was his idea of a building. I go, wow, this is even worse than what I was thinking. So I'm prepared in my head. Okay, time to say goodbye. But it's like he's also just a really nice guy, right? It's like, all right. Then I go to the bookshelf, right? I say, okay, I'll give the guy one more chance. I grab a book. I grab a book of New York City, right? Architecture, and I'm looking through the pages, and I find the toughest page, the toughest building I can find. It's this great old school New York City Gothic architecture building, right? Bricks and molding and sconces and gargoyles, whatever the hell is on there. The toughest stuff I could find. It's like, Mike, draw me this building, right? Because I figured he's going to see how bad it is, and he's going to just kind of volunteer to leave, right? It's like, oh, that'll be great. I won't feel guilty. So he goes, oh, cool, the same attitude, Nothing fazed him. It's like he knew that I didn't like that other building, obviously. But so he goes back to his desk saying, positive attitude, right? About an hour later, he comes back to my table over there and says, hey, I finished. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty damn quick considering what I gave him, right? So I went, okay, here we go. So I get up and he hands me a piece of paper with the same enthusiasm. Nothing changed, right? From that loaf of bread in his mind to what he's handing me. I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I look at him and there's no lies. It's one of the best buildings I ever saw drawn, right? And I'm going, dude, like, what happened here? You showed me a loaf of bread like an hour ago, and now you just show me this beautiful building that you drew. And I swear, and this is how Mike was, didn't miss a beat, no change in attitude, just upbeat. He goes, nobody ever told me to use reference before.
Oh, wow.
That was it. And it's like all of us in the studio, whether editorial or the other artists, none of us had ever seen anyone get so good so fast. Back then we were doing like trading cards and stuff. And that was a great place for people to learn how to draw because, it was different than a comic book. And it was just these trading cards that people collected whether they looked good or not, really. And we just gave them a bunch of trading cards and every one that came back was better than the one before. Like, Jesus Christ, who is this guy? He literally was waiting on tables before he walked into the office, right? And that was his job. He was a waiter. And I went, holy crap, this guy. And we're all like, Jesus, look at it. Give him some more stuff. And we gave him a ballistic miniseries to do. And when those pages started coming in, we were just like, oh, man, this guy, he's got it. He's got the magic, this guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right. And we were developing, because Billy Tucci was having success with She and kind of showing that, there's possibilities for a female-led comic book. Marvel and DC weren't doing it. Nobody cared about Wonder Woman back then, that's for sure. So, and we were developing a female lead, and Mike had a real eye for that aspect of comics, plus just dynamic storytelling and all that. You were never bored looking at a Michael Turner comic. So we started creating Witchblade with specifically for Mike Turner to be the artist. And, he jumped right in on the development process and he just had all these great ideas. And I was, me and him were late night, after, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, we'd be like doing designs back and forth of what the Witchblade was going to look like. And the rest is history. That book, still to this day, I look at that as the model of how you launch a comic book. And we broke all kinds of records and, that led directly to the TV series, because, people just loved Witchblade, but Mike was just that amazing. Yeah, he was that guy. It didn't matter what you threw at him. He had the same positive attitude about it, and it's like even after he got the gig, he was still the same guy. He just wanted to show his work. It's like, hey, what do you think? I was like, dude,
I met him a couple of times. He was always one of the sweetest, most nicest artists I've ever had the pleasure of doing business with at a convention.
Absolutely. And what a massive talent that guy was. Absolutely massive talent. So obviously we did the Witchblade Kickstarter, and his work is in there too. And that did really, really well. People just loved his work and they wanted to see more of it. And I believe there's some of his stuff in this volume 2, if I'm not mistaken, unless it was volume 1. But I think because also we're including not just Darkness proper issues, but also where he appeared with Witchblade, various places. So those full issues are in there as well, which is actually pretty cool for the fans. There's actually the first comic book appearance of Jackie, and it's in an issue of Witchblade. So it's pretty cool.
Yep, Witchblade number 10.
Oh, there you go. Witchblade fan. All right.
Yeah, Witchblade was my jam back in the day.
It was a lot of people's jam. It's like,
yep.
And we were really proud of the fact that we had the highest female readership back then. Because it just wasn't a market that people were paying attention to. It just wasn't. And then when Witchblade just blew up, then people started actually dipping their toe more into having female-led comics. But we were really proud of it. Still are. I'm still really proud of Witchblade and Darkness and all the stuff we've done. And again,
I was wondering, what are some of your favorite memories of your Marvel work? You were one of the legendary X-Men artists back in the day.
Well, I think if I've reached that legendary status, because I think if you're in long enough, they just put that label on you. Just as it's like when you used to get a gold watch from the company at retirement. I've been in it long enough. It's like, hey, you're legendary. Yeah, I know. I've been in it for 40 years. Thanks. But thank you. Well, actually, back in the day, working with Chris Claremont on the X-Men, which was the premier comic in comics back in the 80s, it just didn't get any better than that, right? I'm working with Chris Claremont, and it's the X-Men. Good grief. So nothing but good memories from those days. I'm sure at the time.
It is great. And when does the Kickstarter end? Because we're starting to wind down.
We're getting close, so if anybody wants to jump on, you've got until Friday at 3 p.m. West Coast time. So get in there, get your piece of Jackie's 1/2 issue, because you're going to want it. Trust me on this, and all your friends who don't get it are going to be crying. You want to be one of those people. So pick it up, and again, thank you in advance to anyone who has not yet done it, and thank you very much to everyone who has contributed to this campaign. We really appreciate it. And for all you Darkness fans out there, I think you're going to dig it. It is Jackie, and he is badass as ever.
That's awesome, Sus. Thank you for your time, Mark. And
I appreciate it.
Thank you for all the comic book memories.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Stay safe. Take it easy.
Same to you. Bye-bye. Well, everyone, that brings this episode of Awesome Sauce Radio to an end. As of next week, the 18th, we will be on Wednesday nights. Same juice, different night. So it'll be Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. for the foreseeable future. It'll be all new, all different. Same pimp hand of carnage throughout the land. Remember, you don't need sight to have a vision. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. Stay safe. Get your vaccine. Wear your masks. And I love you all. Blind Adam out.